Hello, my name is Ruth Vetris, and I'm a special education teacher, and I work with Brenda.
Hi, my name is Megan Walls. I am also a special education teacher, and I also work with Brenda.
We are going to start with talking about executive function and what that entails for kids, and what executive functioning, the characteristics or what it is, are the ability to stay focused on task, the ability to plan and anticipate, organization of thoughts and materials, ability to follow through, ability to cope with unstructured situations, the ability to cope with changes in routine, and the ability to regulate emotions. And what we know about the executive function, and then when we have kids that have a delay in executive function or that part of their brain, is that they struggle in these areas, and not just struggle, but they have a skill deficit. And what we've seen is that this impacts kids who have fetal alcohol effects or syndrome, kids who have autism spectrum disorder, kids with ADHD, and who else? Lots of children. It affects that part of their brain, and you see it when they're in the classroom. And so we're going to also talk about some strategies that work for these students.
So I'm going to start off with just some starting things you can do. The most important thing, I think, is recognizing signs that the student is about to have a meltdown. By recognizing the sign, then you can possibly divert the meltdown completely. If not, then at least go through certain steps in a plan in order to decrease the meltdown. Also, by the teacher recognizing the signs, you can also help the student recognize the signs that they're about to become upset. So most students, there will be something that they do right when they're about to get upset, like tapping fingers or getting up out of their seat or yelling. So recognizing these signs, which are different for each individual student, and then do self-monitoring strategies with the students. So, for example, teaching the student or coaching the student on what to do when you feel yourself getting upset. Keep teaching them coping strategies, like I will count to 10, I will close my eyes, I will put my head down on my desk. And then doing self-monitoring strategies where they actually keep track of what they did. And so at the end of the day, it's not a question of, well, how many times did you have a meltdown? It's how many times were you able to independently divert a meltdown from happening, which is very empowering for students. And it also focuses on the positive and teaches students how to avoid conflict before it starts. It's also important to understand that expectations should be different for every student, but not less. And we should break down the task and possibly reduce the task. So at this point, I'm going to pass back to Ruth.
When we talked about executive function delay, one of the things we realized is that kids that struggle with this and have difficulty are very impulsive, as we know. They have an inability to be able to regulate their emotions and to plan ahead and to organize. And so we see kids that act on their impulses all the time. They're very impulsive. And so being in the classroom, we notice that they're making these choices, and sometimes it looks like they're making a choice that's a bad choice. But in my classroom and in our experience, impulses are not choices, and we don't honor those as choices. And what we do is we set up the classroom for success so that those students are able to get there. And we know that these are the kids that need that extra support. And so you think of your classroom, if you're teaching in a general education setting, you have your 95% of your kids or 90% of your kids that are functioning and doing what they need to do when you give the instruction, and then you have your 2 to 5% or your couple kiddos that are off to the side and not following directions and really having difficulty not doing what they're supposed to do. And what we found is that when we dig deeper and we talk to those kids, that it's actually because they don't know what's going on, or there's something else going on, and whether it's they didn't get enough to eat or get enough to sleep, or they are overstimulated, or they're sitting in a space that they are their attention is being focused on a peer. that when you put things in place for them that they can thrive and they can get there, and instead of getting frustrated with them for not doing what they're supposed to do, the goal is to help them get what they need to have to get there, and let's get the kids there, and that they are able to get there, but they need our help. And so the other thing I was going to talk about was just really finding out what the motivation is for each kiddo, and they are all working for something, and laying it out, whether it's something little or something big, but what's the plan, and how, and what are we doing next? And so having the child be involved in that plan. What are you working for? How much can we accomplish today? And having them, it's their plan, and they're not going to be a part of it unless we let them and include them. And every child works for something, whether it's an apple or 5 minutes of time even talking to you. It's finding out what they're working for. So.
Okay. Thank you very much.